here's a reading vlog I'm really excited about because it's finally February, which means I can finally get on to my February TBR, which I've been looking forward to for the last 2 weeks since I made it. I had like wanted to jump right in with Scythe or one of the Harry Potter books right at the beginning of this month, but in the last couple of days of January, I started reading Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I wanted to read one of his books this year. It's one of my goals for the year. And I thought I would start with this one because I figured it would probably be one that I liked the least because it is YA and sci-fi, neither of which like are my kind of, they're not like buzzwords for me. I don't read really much YA at all. And I think I've only ever read one sci-fi, and that was Journey to the Center of the Earth, and I thought it was terrible. So I got the book from the library because I know I want to buy some of his books, but I thought since I wouldn't really like this one that I may as well just get this one from the library. And wow, so far I've been wrong. I am almost done. I think I have like 60, 70 more pages left in the book, and I cannot believe I am liking it as much as I am. Now, I don't know how much his writing in this book is like his writing in his other books, but so far his humor and just everything, it cracks me up. He has me caring for like an AI, which, I mean, doesn't even have any emotions or anything like that. Like, how can I care about what happens to this AI in this book? But yeah, so far I'm really liking it, and unless something goes terribly wrong in the last little bit, this is going to be a 5-star for sure. I'm going to have some troubles stopping myself from jumping into book 2 right away, but now that I know I like this one so much, I kind of want to like buy this one and then buy book 2, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. So I'm going to finish reading this book and then I will start jumping into my February TBR. But before I do that, I just wanted to share, I got a book outlet haul here to share, and I'm just going to go through really quickly because I don't like to know much about my books, so I'm just going to share what I all got. The first one is The Snow Child. This one is something about a childless family in, I think, Alaska, and somehow they come across this child. I think it's like magic realism, if I'm correct, some kind of like fairy tale-esque, but they adopt this child, and because I have a son who's adopted and we currently have 2 foster sons, I think this one will be a really sweet read. I'm not sure even what the genre is other than magic realism, if it is even that. It's just one that I know that has been talked about quite a bit. History, fiction, magic realism, fairy tales, adaptations. So we'll see how that one is. And then I got a Victoria Schwab book, Our Dark Duet. This is a sequel. So at the beginning of the year I kept saying like I'm not going to buy any more book 2s, and then I just like keep buying book 2s. But I've heard really good things about Victoria Schwab's writing. I haven't read any of it yet, but hopefully one day, and then hopefully I can find book 1 and then read this series. Then I got 2 books by Jonathan Friesen. I read his Aquifer in January, and so I thought I would check out these books. They were both like under $3 on Book Outlet, so there's Both of Me, which I think, I'm not even sure what the genre is of it. See if I can see it here quickly. Bunch of different things, voyages and travels, multiple personality, so we'll see what that is. Both of Me and Unfolding. Yeah, so I don't know a whole lot about them, but I just thought I would try to learn, read more of his books, learn more about his writing. And then this one was totally a cover by The Dollmaker of Krakow. I didn't realize it until I got it. I think it actually is a middle grade book, and I think it's a fairy tale retelling, if I'm correct, but I mean, I just totally bought it for the cover. And I don't know, the dust jacket's beautiful, that not so much, but the spine is really pretty too. So that's always like bonus points. So there's that one, and then the rest, most of these are middle grade. I got Little Dog Lost, which is one of my favorite free verse novels. It's middle grade as well, and just, it's so sweet. I love this book. Then I got Crenshaw, which is a great story about imagination and homelessness. And yeah, I read this one with my kids a few years ago and want to do a reread with them. Then I got The Girl Who Saved Christmas. I think A Boy Called Christmas is the first one. I don't know if you have to read one and then the other. I kept hearing really great things about A Boy Called Christmas, and this one was on there, so I figured I'd buy it and then read it next year. Then the next two are Bliss and A Dash of Magic, which is part of the series, book 1 and book 2. These are for my daughter. It's about a magic bakery, and I don't know what else, but I know she started reading this one from the library and really enjoyed it, so I thought I'd grab it. And book 2. And then I got Furthermore, which is a book that I've heard really good things about, and I'm actually not even sure if this one is middle grade or if it's YA. Of course, it doesn't actually say on the inside, but yeah, I'm not sure. I've heard really good things about this one, and then I think there is a second one as well. But yeah, I'll try that one out. And then the last thing that I bought was actually the Brick Shakespeare. This is 2 volumes in one, or 2 volumes in a box. It includes the tragedies, Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, and Julius Caesar, and the comedies, A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Tempest, Much Ado About Nothing, and The Taming of the Shrew. And so it's all just like in Lego pictures, and it's something I want to do in our homeschool with my kids, is like go through the Shakespeare plays. I thought this would just be a fun way to go through it. I obviously took some Shakespeare in school and like remember nothing, so I want to go through some of the plays with them and like actually learn about it for myself for the first time, which is a really big perk of homeschooling. I feel like I've learned more homeschooling in the last few years than I did actually in school in my entire schooling career. But yeah, so there's my little book outlet haul. And I'm just going to keep reading this book. I started a reading journal, my first kind of reading journal. I'm using just a composition notebook and writing some things down. I've been like taking notes on things that I like. I've been writing down a few quotes because this isn't my copy. Some funny things that I like in this book. And yeah, so far one thing I can say about Sanderson is I appreciate his ability is maybe not the right word, willingness maybe, to kill off his characters, because I feel like so many people are just so afraid to do that, and so far he is not afraid to do that at all. One of the notes I wrote to myself was like, get attached to no one, because you never know who's going to be there. But yeah, so excited to finish reading this book. Okay, so I finished reading this book yesterday, and I have so many thoughts and feelings about it, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone. All I really can say is, wow. I mean, I had like high expectations with it being Brandon Sanderson, but then the whole like YA thing kind of took it down a notch, and the whole sci-fi thing kind of took it down like another notch. So I would have been happy, kind of thinking this would be like a 3-4 star, and this is like a 5-star plus in my opinion. I mean, he made me tear up like multiple times in this book, and I just feel like it, even though I've moved on to another book now, I kind of just like want to live in this world for a little longer, and I really want to get my hands on book 2. My library, all the copies are currently out, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna want to own a copy anyway, and also to find a copy of this. So my husband and I are supposed to go on a date at the end of the week, and because he is like the best husband in the entire world, it was his suggestion that we go to a bookstore for our date, because he's awesome. So I'm going to try to find the book 2, which is Scythe, I think it's called. Though I know that the UK covers, they look so beautiful compared to these. Like, these aren't bad, but I feel like the other ones are so much better. So I was kind of tempted to like jump onto Book Depository and order them through there, but then I have to wait. So we'll see if I find it later in the week or not. If I don't, then maybe I'll order it that way. But yeah, so good. I don't know if this is considered like a book hangover that I have. Like, what is the definition of a book hangover? I'm going to find out. apparently a book hangover is the struggle of trying to reconnect with reality after finishing an amazing book. And the feeling of finishing the book and not knowing what to do with oneself. It's like saying goodbye to a good friend. Yep, so I would say I have a good case of a book hangover with this one. I did read on Goodreads that Brandon Sanderson said, like, well, book 2 is already out, and then book 3 he's going to write this year to be released hopefully next year, and then there's a book 4 yet that he will write after that. It's like, I like to not get into books until the series is done, and now he's got me hooked and I have to wait a few years for him to finish the series. But, I mean, totally worth it. I did share yesterday that I created myself a little reading journal. It's just a composition notebook, which I have painted a few different times to like cover other paint jobs, whatever, doesn't really matter. But I've just been kind of writing like the title of the book, the author, when I started it, when I finished it, the genre, how many stars, the format that I read it in, the length, where I got it from, and like thoughts. And I wrote a lot of thoughts about this book, partly because it is a library book and I didn't want to like highlight and underline and tab the book up when it's not my own book. But yeah, I'm kind of liking this. I think it was fun to write down some of my thoughts that I was having as I was reading the book. And yeah, this is fun. This was amazing. Moving on, I did start Scythe. This was on my February TBR. It was the book that I chose for the most anticipated card that I drew out, and I'm like 50, 60-ish pages in. So far, so good. I have really high expectations of this book because I've heard such great things, and it does sound like the kind of book that I would like, but I feel a little bad going into this one after thinking such good things about this one. Like, I hope it doesn't make this feel worse than it really is in my mind. So far, yeah, it's an interesting concept. I love dystopian books, and this one kind of promises to be a really good one. So I'll know more once I'm a little farther in. I just have a quick little reading update today. I'm still reading Scythe. I'm about 140 some pages into it, and so far, like, I find it very interesting. It's fascinating to think about a world where the cloud kind of knows everything, and to think like all the information in the world is accessible to humans. And I feel like the author has done a really good job exploring like what humankind would be like if that was a possibility. Like, would we still be striving to learn all there is to learn, or would we be lazy and just, I don't know, kind of like not trying anymore? So I find that interesting, but so far I don't feel really attached to either of our like main characters. I mean, there's still a lot more to go in the book here. I'm probably like a little more than a third through, but yeah, like I feel really bad for this book, reading it after how much I loved Skyward. It's good. It's a really good book. Yeah, I want to care more about the characters. I want them to have a little bit more personality. So hopefully that comes in the next little bit. Because I kind of wanted to just give myself a little break from Scythe, I picked up the book Book Love. I got this from the library. I heard about it from a Little Prairie Library, her channel. She recommended this, said it was one of her favorite books of last year. So I checked it out from the library, and it was the sweetest little book. Like, I'm not a graphic novel kind of person, but pretty much every page is just like book lover problems. There's so many pages that I was going through and I was reading, and I like kept taking a picture and sending it to my husband. This one right here, this page, is my problem right now with Skyward. It's looking for the second book in a series, but the company or the bookstore doesn't have it and can't get it in for 5 days, and like the problems that causes in your soul. Yeah, it's just a really sweet little book. I almost feel like almost every page is me in some way. I think this would be a really cute book to get a book lover for like Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, or like some of those little gifty kind of times. And I'm gonna keep my eye out for this because it's adorable. And she also has another book, Quiet Girl in a Noisy World. I requested this one from the library as well because it sounds interesting, and I like her sketches. I like the way she draws, and yeah, I felt so seen and known in this book. It was adorable. So yeah, I will just continue on with Scythe for the next few days, and yeah, hopefully the characters get a little bit more depth and personality. That's kind of what I'm hoping for right now. Okay, so today's actually Sunday, and I tried to wrap up this video on Friday like I'm trying to do, but then the video that I had filmed, when I transferred it over, it totally corrupted and wrecked. So I finished Scythe, and I had said some thoughts on it, and now I have to try to remember what those thoughts were. I ended up giving this a 3.5 star because even though it's been a couple days since I finished it, I kind of don't know how I feel about it. I do know that like it was okay. I still didn't really care for the characters a whole lot by the end. Like I feel like they're just like missing some personality, and this is also after reading Skyward, where Spencer has like so much personality, so that might be partly to do with it, but I feel like I didn't really even know the characters by the end, and you know, it's like 400 and some pages, so I should be a little more invested than I was, I think. The ending was interesting. I liked a little bit of a twist there at the end, but I'm struggling with this from a moral standpoint. Obviously, if you have a world where no one can die, overpopulation is going to be a problem. If they're not dying from natural causes, there's no accidents anymore, you can revive people. So they only actually die if a scythe kills them, and then they don't get revived. It's an interesting concept, but in the same way, because in this book they use the word gleaning instead of killing, I almost wonder if it kind of made the art of killing someone too commonplace. Not that it was commonplace, like they chose their apprentices based on compassion, and like if people had like a thirst to kill, they were never chosen to be a scythe. But just some of the wording that was used in like compassionate killing and stuff, it kind of made me think of like euthanasia. And I don't know if the author like actually has any kind of like ulterior motives in writing this book, but I don't know, I'm not 100% comfortable with it. That being said, it is an interesting idea for a dystopian book, because this world, so many people in this world are trying to live forever. Like that is the ideal. And when I think about it, like I don't think I would like to live forever. There is something good to knowing that your life is only like a maximum of 100 years if you live to be really long. If you could live forever for hundreds of years, thousands of years, I think life, I would take every day differently. I would not be so intentional with my life, I think. So like this book has made me think a lot, and I appreciate that. I'm just kind of not 100% sure where I sit with it. So yeah, I finished this I think on Thursday, and then I started Harry Potter. And then my plan for the weekend was/is to read this book, and you'll have to watch my next reading vlog, which I will start right after this video, to see how this goes. Overall, it was a pretty good reading week. I'm definitely thinking a lot more about the books that I read since joining BookTube, and vlogging a little bit about my thoughts throughout, and I appreciate that. I would love to hear what you're currently reading, any book suggestions that I should read in the upcoming weeks, and yeah, just let me know some of your favorite books in the comments below.